Welcome to the Adelaide Microsoft IT Pro Community Meetup for July. We're your hosts, Andrew Young and Shahan Pereira. If you haven't met us before, that's me. You can find me mostly on LinkedIn. I'm also a Microsoft MVP, along with Shahan as well. We've just both gotten our renewals successfully happened. Yeah. So we're in the game. Yeah, new logo, if you haven't seen it. Curious, it's more rounded edges. I think that's the current theme at Microsoft.
Rounded edges is the current go.
Yeah. And yes, a company called Information in AI security. And Shahan.
Yeah, I'm Shahan. I'm also Microsoft Security MVP. Just got renewed for the 5th year this morning. Yeah, the blue bug is on the way. So I specialize in identity and access management and Intune in my MVP categories, and I'm a consultant at Arinco, working in the modern work and security space. You can find me if you scan my QR code. So my blog is emsroute.com, and you can find me LinkedIn, X, everywhere as well. Thank you.
Cool. And thanks again to our sponsors, Microsoft, for hosting us here, Systematec for being around. Yeah, and between Shahan and myself, supporting the user group, the refreshments and so on. All right, so we'll keep it brief this month round for the what's new, what's coming. What happened to an entire slide? we haven't.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, got the security.
On this slide, this is your slide. Well, you can go first.
Yeah. So that's security. In security, mainly in intra backup and recovery is now in GA. So this means it backs up, I think, 5 times a day all the objects in intra, and you can just recover as you want. Also, it does the differential recovery as well, just to see what's been changed from the last backup and and then you can recover from that one. And the good thing is you can't change, even as a GA, you can't change the backup settings. It's managed by Microsoft. So that's a good thing. Even if, the tenant is got breached, no one can change anything. Even the attacker can't do anything with the backups. You can easily recover afterwards. So that's now in GA. This came up yesterday. Microsoft is pushing passkeys rapidly. So we got the SMS, mainly the mobile phone version of authentication method. So that's voice and SMS is going out. So as the first step, they are deprecating. So they are pushing the passkeys. So starting September 1st. And from next year onwards, there'll be no option for users to register the SMS or phone for the authentication methods. So I think, this is the timeline for that one. So pretty much need to create your passkeys profiles, identify which passkey profile you need to use, device bound or synced passkeys. They have their own different settings and configurations involved, and at the users, so they will start using. So pretty much a bit of a user communication awareness, a bit of a learning curve is involved as well. So September 1st, the users will be nudged to register for the passkeys if they have SMS or the voice as a method registered in their authentication methods profile. Okay, so this came up here. The backup and recovery information. I'll just skip that. What's good? Okay. No, it's you. It's still you. Oh, okay. Intune has got Intune Suite is now in E3 and E5. So as opposed to how it was earlier as a separate product. So it has got like all the features enabled: advanced analytics, remote help, advanced mobility solutions, application management. They have recently added a feature in the enterprise application management where the applications are now automatically updating. You can set the settings and things like that in that feature. Cloud PKI, certificates in the cloud rather than having your CA on premises, and endpoint privilege management feature as well. So now this is GA and included in the current E3 and E5 licensing subscriptions.
Sabotage. So I'll readjust this. Bear with me. Kill it. But you trust people working on your slide deck.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Done it now. It is not happening.
Incidentally, while there's a pause,
Please.
we had 8 counts of SIM hijacking on international travelers in the last 12 months, 6 in Thailand, 2 in Japan. Where basically moments after landing, there would be basically an MFA notification. It would get redirected to the hijacked SIM. I think they knew whose account it was, so this is obviously some kind of leaked information. And then we would get a notification 5 minutes later, someone's sending like hundreds of emails a second out through this account kind of thing. We had to action one guy twice.
Fun.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. Yep. People don't realise how vulnerable SMS and phones are, and hence why Microsoft are just completely taking it off the
In
table.
this day and age, given that the telcos have dropped the ball on that security layer, it's really not good at all.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
The deck's back in track now. My slide disappeared and I had to put it back in, and we don't know what happened. Oh, I know what to. Yeah. Anywho, so what's new in the workforce space, or M365? Anyone's paying attention to the latest in Copilot? We've got some more large language models in the mix now. So across Copilot Chat and Co-work, we've now got Sonnet 5 from the Claude side of things. You do need to enable this first in your tenant as a sub-processor. They've also done the same thing with OpenAI. So you do need to also enable that to have access to the new GPT 5.6 Sol, Terra, and potentially Luna later. They're, again, deep reasoning, faster thinking and all that kind of thing. It's cheaper and better models. So as we move along, we get some cool features. I'm not seeing part of some of those things. I don't see the Firefly Frontier, and I definitely don't see Fable 5 in preview in my tenant. So some lucky people are playing with some cool tools there. Copilot Studio for the agent makers in the room / online. There's a new experience out in preview now. So you may be familiar with the older Power Virtual Agent style approach. So as soon as you log on to the portal now, you can toggle the new experience and you can choose between creating an agent or workflow. So see that they're no longer called agent flows, or perhaps they used to be called all that, but now there are separate, I guess, canvas to create them in. So it is reusing the workflows app. If you play with that one, but I guess major changes is when you're creating the agent now, you talk to effectively an agent that assists you in describing what you want, building out different skills and tools, and then being able to assign the right model, knowledge sources, and other agents. So where previously it was a separate windows that you enter text to move it along. I think one of the biggest things is if you look across the top there, there's no longer a topics section. So you're not building out the back and forth, the if user says this, react with these options and so on. So it's no longer question answer building. That's where the skills come in. So they're using the markdown files where you build out, hey, if a user says this, then you will do these things, etc., etc. And the cool part, so this is that workflows canvas. They've gone from top down to left to right now. Looks visually more appealing because top down was very painful because once you start branching out too many things, it was really hard to navigate. But and the main thing I noticed here is at the bottom, you can now put in a agent and call the agent from the workflow. So I think before you'd create a flow in Power Automate, and you can try to invoke an agent, and it might work. This is probably a bit more reliable because it's right there in the mix of it all. So yet to really go ham with the new experience, but apparently it has better orchestration. Generative AI is more effective, so less credit usage. You can use the skills, so it's more repetitive, usable, and overall better experience. Apparently Foundry IQ as well now. So where Microsoft IQ is their, I mean, you want to call it the brains behind everything. So there's Work IQ, which is the M365 side of things. There's Fabric IQ, so your data platform, and Foundry IQ is everything that you create within Foundry or Azure in terms of your enterprise data and AI. So you've got everything in your Microsoft estate now can be used as a data source in Copilot Studio, the agents. And also a bit sad or bittersweet, but Viva Connections, if you ever use that, just dropping the name, it's just SharePoint. Always has been. So if you had Viva Connections up, it's just, you know, it's SharePoint, and you might notice it in the new look and feel of SharePoint. They only just announced a new look in March on the left there, and again, got some slight changes on the right. You can see the, again, rounded edges and corners. But there's also some subtle shading, so it pops out the pages and the apps and so on. So I don't know, visually appealing. There's the rounded edges, cutting down on screen real estate. But yeah, it's nice. You don't have to do custom coding or anything to make SharePoint not look like SharePoint anymore because SharePoint's doing a good job of that itself. Right. Cool. So we're on this page before. Yeah, so the Sentinel experience, they're moving away from just being in the Azure portal and into the Microsoft Defender XDR portal. The timeline for that was extended to March next year, or the end of March. We had this week, or a couple of days ago, the end of extended support for those servers. I think a big one was the info path is finally gone. Finally.
Hold that slide.
Yeah. Forms and flows, people are going to be scrambling to redesign those or refactor in the modern methods. I'll update that for next month. We might see some new products going into life soon. Cool. Again, I'll just throw this up there, but links will be in the show notes. But there is ninja training for all the various Microsoft security products. Book. And moving into the more controversial space, so Microsoft Learn here, there are more and more new exams and certifications to keep up with the whole market being AI everything. This time around, it's here's a huge list of what's new, and then they're going to go, oh, well, this is what's going. And some of those are renamed, some of them are retirements and replacements. One of the more controversial ones, if you look down bottom left area, there is bottom left, the MS-102, which was the M365 admin expert. So that's retiring apparently, and it's getting replaced with the AB-650, which is only an associate level, and it's managing, so say again, AI services admin. So a lot of people are complaining you're taking away the amount of effort and preparation to study and pass an expert level actual admin role versus something that's just playing with AI. So we'll see whether anything changes in that space. But all the other exams that are coming out in that AI business solution space, they're all either rehashing a Power Platform or a dynamic exam or something brand new where you're creating agents and so on. And there's a bunch that are in beta. One that hasn't made it, well, dead on arrival is the cybersecurity business professional one, so the SC 730. Based on feedback, they decided not to go ahead with that one. So anyone that had taken it, if you've passed it, it'll still give you a transcript, but it won't amount to anything. At least they did give us a free exam voucher to make up for our efforts. Always happy to have more vouchers. And the latest exam to go into beta is the Windows Server Admin Associate. So the cert's staying the same, but they're retiring the previous 2 exams. Just need 1 exam now to cover all the things to do with Windows Server, Azure, backup recovery, security, etc., etc. And if you really keen, there's a beta code, 80% off, first 300 people.
Right, fine. You're gonna force me to study.
Yes.
I never got an official MCSE because I was Windows 2000 era, and they changed the exam standard as we finished because we were the first class, and it went from like 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 exams kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we'd been taught proxy server, and that was the first generation of internet access server. I think it was back then.
It was. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. God, she's jogging the memories now.
Wildfires. That's all gone now. Thank goodness. For the Fabric / Power BI data people, there is a 60 days of data and AI still going on. There's a few weeks left, but if you're interested, you can request a free voucher for one of those exams at the bottom. I think the first 2 are relating to Fabric themselves, and 800 is SQL.
Ew.
People use SQL. There's SQL and Fabric databases, right? It's still relevant, but AKA MS data days. And yeah, we'll keep this up on the screen. But Asian Academy, Copilot Studio. This is still classic experience. Copilot Studio, as far as I'm aware, they haven't added any new UI stuff yet, but I should get back to this and go through the rest of the training and practice. And there's a bit of co-work involved as well. So not so much instructor-led, but there's guided labs so you can get familiar and create some really cool solutions there. Copilot Dev Camp, they wanted to be involved as well with badges, less colourful, but yeah, they cover similar concepts and probably more dev heavy, so pro code and so on. For students, if there are any on the call, the Student Ambassador program has had a bit of a refresh, new badges, new names, I guess.
Very rounded edges.
More rounded edges, yeah. I just saw last night the lady in Bangalore, she's got into it, and apparently the KPIs or the assessments that you do, there's 2 options. You either complete 1,000 or more Microsoft Learn modules, or you share and have people click your link to some Microsoft Learn articles. If you can get over 250 clicks, that counts as well. So you can go 1,000 of those or 250 of those. She did both. And the last step is to then pass an applied skills assessment, which is free at your own leisure.
Or like peer assessed teaching.
I don't really know. It's driving usage of Microsoft Learn and making people access it. So it's probably just free marketing. I didn't say that. But yeah, the other alternative was to pass an exam and get a certification. So, this is people who are studying. You don't need necessarily be just a pure student. You could be career shifting, pivoting, and you're in a certain uni course or a TAFE course. I think you just need a student email address and you can sign up and join that program. Moving along quickly. Yeah, we've got other user groups. If you haven't seen them, I think we're still mostly on Meetup app if you want to find us. Also announcing the global security community. So we've got Adelaide chapter, Shahan, myself, and one other where the chapter leads. And we've got our first boot camp coming on the 22nd of August. I think we're good on speakers for now. But make sure you register on the website for the event itself. And we'll see you on the day. It will be a Saturday, so no excuse. In terms of what's coming, there's bunch of other security events, but notably the GSC has boot camps in Perth and Sydney coming up. We've got the ASA Adelaide Sec, I believe, the day before ours. There's B-sides in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously Ignite later in the year, and then we've got developer and data related conferences in Adelaide, November, December. So it's not just that. Yeah. In terms of us, we've got actually got a submission to talk about Power Apps next month, so it'll be interesting, refreshing, having a new speaker, new face, and yeah, we'd like to get some more speakers involved. We've got a few months there with nothing yet. Obviously, we did that joint user group after the Ignite conference, and we'll get a new form up for next year after that. Okay, stop talking and hand over to.
What happened to the timeline?
Fine.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
We're gonna up. But guest speaker is Brett Moffett, as we're alluding to. Brett and Adam, who's just walked in, they were the previous user group leaders for the user group. But I'll hand it over to Brett to do the needful.
Cool. I get the controller. All right. Fantastic. Yes. As I said, 10 years. 10 years. So 10 years ago, we started the Microsoft System Center community. And yours was the AP group.
Yeah.
Active Directory or something like that.
What Pete used to run.
Yeah. And then, so, yeah. And then the System Center one, and that was, 10 years ago. So I don't look that old, but it turns out I am. All right. So what we're talking about today is local admin passwords. How do you dealing with local admin passwords on local machines? So we've got such a diverse workstations now, laptops and everything going everywhere. The local admin username and password, so actually having local admin user rights over your machine, is still one of the highest risk vectors that we have out there, according to the Australian Cyber Security Centre. So how do we organise those passwords locally that are useful, that don't get in the way of people actually doing their work, and trying to manage that? So it all depends. This is what we're talking about. User account control, from back in Windows XP, SP2 days, when it first came out. It looks a little bit different now, not quite as rounded edges, but that's okay. Similar sort of thing. The idea being that all users run as a standardized user, and then you have to, with user account control, elevate your privileges to an admin. But if you're running as an admin, you only get a yes, no on the screen. And because we're got monkey brains, we love to hit yes on everything, or okay on everything, because that's just how we do it. So this doesn't really add any sort of level of security. So what you can do is then have a separate account that you have to type in a username and password for. That is, how do we manage that for each individual user? If we give each individual user a different username and password for every single workstation, they can't remember one password. Why would they remember two? And this creates more of a headache for support groups. So what are the solutions that we have? The solution is that we make every user a local admin, and that just encourages cowboy type work on people's machines that they can just install and do whatever the hell they want. Not a practical solution. Unique local admin accounts for each PC. So we give everybody a local admin account for each PC and manage it that way. Problem is, that's a heck of a lot of passwords and a heck of a lot of usernames and a lot of manual stuffing about trying to organise that. We can then take that and put it into, say, a password manager like Bitwarden Password Manager. Great, fantastic, but again, still a lot of accounts to go and manage. Separate named admin accounts, so we can actually set up a different named account within inside Entra. So, for example, Brett.Moffett and Brett.Moffett.admin as an account, and then set that up with Windows Hello for Business on the local machine. So when it elevates, you can just switch over to the other one and Windows Hello takes over and puts that information in, which is great. But again, you have to manually set that up on every single machine, set up your passcodes on Windows Hello on every single machine you want to be a part of. If you've got an admin team that needs to get admin access to all those local machines, they would have to go around and set up their passkeys on every single machine. Not really viable. Yeah, so they might not be the user password. So how have Microsoft solved it? They've come up with 3 different solutions that we'll talk about today to be able to look at this sort of stuff. Number 1 is LAPS, the local admin password solution. Basically, what this does, it says, hey, every device does get its own local admin password, not a shared one, so not the same password across every single machine, which we see out there. Passwords rotate automatically, so they automatically change the passwords every 30, 60, 90 days, whatever you've got it set to. So therefore, if someone does use a password, it can't be used again on those machines, and over time it goes through. So secrets are stored and retrieved through Entra ID. So anyone in the background that has access to Entra ID will be able to see what those passwords are and rotate them as needed. Is there a question? No, someone has dialed in. Pete's got that. Fine. Thank you, Pete. Look at that in the background. And it removes the need for a single shared God password, similar to the one that not having a single password across every single machine. So when it's implemented, this is kind of what it looks like. So this is a customer on their environment. Very much the same as BitLocker keys that you would have seen, you may have used in the past before. So if you've got BitLocker on a machine, you come in, grab this stuff, show the local admin password. You can use that local admin password and then recycle it, and away you go. We can see with the password retention and next password rotation, I've got that set to 30 days and away we go. Now, for MSPs, for large organizations, help desk, someone's going to have to call up. Adam here's gone to install Adobe Acrobat or some update to a piece of software. The username and password UAT has come up, and they have to call in, get the username. We'll have to log into Entra, get this password, give them that password. It's used, we recycle the password, and away we go. So it is admin heavy as far as that's concerned if you've got a large organization. So LAPS is good for the smaller type enterprises that don't have licensing for anything else. LAPS is licensed all the way down to all of the business suite. So if you've got any Entra, you've got access to LAPS. So if it's business basic, business standard, business premium, they've all got LAPS here as part of it. All of this in the background is exposed to Graph API. So if you want to have a play with some automation and some approvals and some other bits and pieces, there are ways to be able to allow people to retrieve this themselves from Teams or something like that. You might want to, hey, I need my local admin password. Teams message goes to somebody else that says, yes, you can have it. It retrieves it, sends it back to them, those sorts of things. You could really play around with how you would like to manage this from an automated perspective. It's slow, yes. Okay. The next one up is EPM, so Endpoint Privilege Management. I love this one because it's Intune, and I love Intune because System Center, End User Computer, that's where I've always come up through. EPM is even better because it provides controlled elevation of applications, not just you have local admin rights over your machine go. It gives you much more granular control over what people can and cannot do on that machine.
Is that signed versions of installers?
Correct. So we'll have a look at that here in a second, but it could be signed versions of installers, it could be hashed versions of it, and so forth and so on. So yeah, absolutely. It supports least privilege and zero trust. So least privilege being, I've got to do this install on my machine. Cool, I'm going to give you God access over that machine just to do that one task. We don't want that. We want you just to have enough rights to do what you need and nothing else. So yeah, least privilege there. Delivers that auditing and reporting. For me, I'm on this big kick at the moment around compliance and regulation, those sorts of things. How do we actually prove that we're doing what we're doing? Whether that's SMB 1001 certification or regulatory compliance, those sorts of things in the background. However, it does require Intune Plan 2 for each device, I believe, or each user. It is each user that uses it. Yeah. For people on business basic and business standard, you don't get Intune, so you don't get Intune Plan 2, so you'd have to get that entirely. Same with business premium, has Intune but not Intune Plan 2, or the Intune Suite, is it called? Yeah, the Intune Suite, yeah. But as we saw on that previous slide, E3 and E5 now have that built in. So if your organization is running an E3 or an E5, this is something you should absolutely be looking at. So what does it change? It changes to this for your user account control that comes up. Instead of it just saying yes, no to give you full admin access or asking you for a username and password, if you have set up that particular application for access rights, so open that app as an administrator. Actually, sorry, I've got that wrong. Depending on the policy that you've put in place, so you could set this up to just be able to say, hey, I will let my people do anything that they want, but they have to go through this and they have to be able to elevate just what it is that they're doing, and it audits that information back.
Is it using stuff like trusted execution and TPM2 to actually store that signature? So when you do fire it up, it's looking for the correct version. Is it hashing the exe on loading it to see if it should actually allow it into the CPU?
At this level,
Yeah.
no. Okay, so this level here is just like an
It's
audit.
just a Windows admin.
happening.
Up you go.
Okay, so it's just saying, hey, this person did this on this, they elevated this machine at this time, at this point in time. Okay. The next one, the next level is to have approval. Okay, so I want to be able to do this. I'm going to run this particular installer. I'm going to run VS Code exe install to be able to install this piece of software. I have to enter a business justification. I hit send. It goes to an admin, comes up on a portal, or pops up like this for the admins. Approve request or deny this request. They type in their information and away it goes. Comes back to that end user. This is where they actually look at that. So it'll pop up here on your Intune Admin Center. Again, something that you can automate, bring that out into Teams or something like that to go along with it.
One of the other group admins did this with a preemptive portal. So you had to submit the reason before you got to execute. Then you had to log the reason when you executed. If the two reasons didn't agree and it hadn't been pre-approved, you couldn't run it anyway.
Interesting.
So it had to go into the log first.
Okay.
And someone hit, okay, this person can do that so long as they get the reason right again.
Yep.
Then you had to get the reason right. Then you were approved.
Sure. Okay. That might be PIM, privileged identity management, which we'll talk about next. But yeah, an interesting way of being able to sort of double check people are actually doing the right thing. So, so someone in the background would have this, your request would come up, click on it, approve, deny, or whatever happens there. So, yep, so there we go, different categories, and you can see the different audit logs and the pieces that go on with that. This Copilot security, Copilot security is the correct licensing term on that one. I can't remember the name of it. I believe it is. And also provide insights to it as well. So as an admin, when I click on that, it can go along and actually look at all of the information about that application and whether there's any sort of indication about malware or anything like that as well. So score out of 100 says, yes, it's definitely malicious, yada, yada, yada. So it's actually brought that information forward to sort of help admins rather than having to do a whole bunch of deep investigation for each request that comes through. So basically, we have these settings policies. So the setting policy is what I was talking about when it comes to how it reacts when you actually log on to it. User request, admin approval, and then rejection, yes or no. The user can do it or not. The next step there is instead of just having a settings policy, you then have a rules policy. So this is where you were talking about with a hash or a certificate or some other way of being able to identify that application. So you might, for example, trust all Microsoft certificates or all Adobe certificates, whatever. So anything that comes through for an Adobe certificate, yes, it can then be routed different ways depending on what application you want. Does it have to get approved? If it's a Microsoft one, don't bother approving it, just log it, let it go, have that go through. So you've got that much more granular control over it. However, you have to set these policies up for all your applications, for all those certificates, for all those hashes. Hashes are a terrible idea because if they change the application, if they change something in particular, but sometimes we don't have signed code and we have to be able to manage that somehow. All right, so EPM is really powerful when it comes to be able to create these policies, but it is very admin intensive to create these admin policies. All right. The next type of solution is called PIM, or Privileged Identity Management. Again, different type of way around this. I'm not sure I'd set up PIM for workstations. You possibly could. It would take some real thinking out to get this into place for individual applications on machines, but you could have it just elevate on that local machine for a certain period of time. When we talk about privileged identity management, we're talking about JIT, or just-in-time permissions. So when we talk about having, general GA, general administrator accounts over everything, there should be a world where all admin accounts do not have GA access. They only get the access roles that they need elevated at the time that they need it and for a given time. So again, supports least privileged and zero trust that goes along with that, delivers auditing and reporting of those escalations. And my favorite, it does require ID Plan 2. So if you don't have Entra ID Plan 2, yeah, you need to have that to be able to have this up and running as well. Now, Premium, Business Premium doesn't have it, but E3 and E5 does have Plan 2, I believe. Sorry, I put this deck together at like midnight. So,
Isn't that when all decks go together?
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So I think it's in this one here. The benefits of PIM, no more GA members. So there should be no one with GA membership. The only accounts with GA membership should be your break glass accounts in case of emergencies. True role-based access control. So around those roles, what particular levels of access we give people, SharePoint admin or individual roles like that, rather than giving away GA membership as well. Time-based. role-based access control. So when you need to do this, how long do you need to do it? Once you've done it, I'm going to take that rights away from you. So you're not walking around with an account that has that access all the time. Very, very powerful. Can require approval. So again, can be set up of just, I need to be able to do this between this time and this time, self-approve as a admin, as a top level admin, I want to be able to do that. I can approve myself to be able to give that time. That's fine. But if I have a junior or somebody else doing something, or we have a more complex environment, that has to have approval. For me, this is the part that I love, is that integration with those ITSM tools, your help desk software, yeah, your Halo ITSM or your Cyrusson or your ServiceNow, that's a part of it. Because change management, we all love change management, don't we? We do, we love it. Not done enough, we need to do more of it. What's really good with that change management is to be able to have that change management, have those change management windows inside your ITSM tools, and to be able to say, hey, these people need this role during this implementation window of our change. Yes, go. That flows through into PIM to be able to give people that access at that time. And it is tracked as part of that whole justification as to why your user account was elevated for that period of time. And of course, close that whole change management process out at the end. Was it successful? Have you returned that those rights as they are? So it really rounds out the whole approval process, and not just a here's my justification. It's much more of a corporate-wide standpoint as far as I'm concerned with your change management. So what does it look like? This is what it looks like here. If I was a admin and I had that policy set up that I can approve myself, I'm going to say here, I need to activate this for 2 hours. This is why I'm doing it. Go, and I can activate that myself. That's been logged. Then we can talk about risky behavior and all of those sorts of things that we would have in the background to be able to track that information. In part of that PIM control, the PIM policy evaluation, and then extension to that custom API. So this is where we can hook in those other systems as far as that API is concerned. So we can do all sorts of things in here. The thing that I love doing is the whole cards in Microsoft Teams, purely because my team spends very little time in any particular tool because they're off doing God knows what and everything else, but they always come back to Teams. Teams just seems to be the one place that we absolutely live in. So having a little card come up, an active card that says, this is what's happening, what's going on, do you approve or reject inside that card, makes life very, very easy for my guys to be able to admin whatever else is going on, and fully trackable as well. That's about it. That's about the solutions. I do have some videos of the actual demos of how to set these things up. I'm wanting to do more of a workshopping type setup for the security, what's it called? Global Security Boot Camp later in August. I've forgotten the name of it already. To do more of a, let's go and set this up. What's the best practice around group naming conventions and policy naming conventions and the sorts of settings that we would set up. So we'll actually run through and actually set those up in that one as well. So that's about it from me. Any questions?
Do you want a consulting job in a couple of weeks?
Not a problem.
They've got a guy coming from the other end, but I would like you to talk to the guys at this end kind of thing, because they're supposed to be 27,001, but I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, 27,001 certification is expensive, time consuming, but so simple. If people just document things, it is so bloody simple. The number of people that I will go to And they're like, oh, we're going to use AI to get 27,001 certificates certified. I'm like, brilliant. Okay, cool. So what's the process for doing that? I don't know. And what's the process for onboarding a new user? Oh, we create a new account and intro. That's it. Oh, well, no, but then we'll probably do this and this and this and this and this. And by the end of it, you've got this whiteboard that is absolutely full of 4,000 different steps that they didn't realize how complex their processes actually were until they stopped and thought about it. There's no point in feeding into AI if you don't know what your processes are. So you have to know your processes and know them well.
Even just what your hard points are.
But
even just what your hard points are.
Even what your hard points are, absolutely. And you know, like specifically, there was one particular piece that I was working on with automation in AI. I go into it and start thinking about it, and so we'll think about the process and mapping out the process, and and I had all these steps, and I realized that it was just way too complex for what it was that I was actually trying to achieve. Rethought about that whole process, brought that process down to 3 steps. 2 of them were just triggers that didn't need AI whatsoever. And it was only the centerpiece that needed that to be able to work out what the actual noise was. You know, pull the signal out of the noise and then move it on to the next automation step. So reducing the complexity of your processes can be a huge step along there as well. But if you don't know what your processes are, you don't know how to reduce them as well. So these sorts of tools are great, but it can be really, really heavy overhead for admin unless you get your processes right and lock it down right from day one. Yeah, change management's the same. I could go on for another hour about change management and how people overcomplicate their change management, but I'll leave that rant for another time.
Be sure to let us know when that session's going to be.
Yeah, I need to actually just write a blurb of what it actually is. Someone keeps bugging me on Teams.
Yes, change management. Just write it down.
Just write that. Oh, look, you know, change management, yeah, can be as simple as that. Change management does not need to be as complex as people make it out to be. So, yeah. Any questions online or anything like that as well? There's the time.
There's a timeline.
Look at that.
I never go around to make it look prettier. roughly the lineage of the user group.
Yeah. Pete created the Windows user group, and by Pete back in 2012. And then after hearing Peter speak at a couple of the Microsoft events and working with Pete back at SA Water, he inspired me to start the System Center user group, and then we renamed it to Adelaide IT Pro when Adam and I sort of joined the whole thing together. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 10 years. Mad.
Given your commitments.
Yeah, I know, right?
We left out the bit where Matt Klein joined for a bit.
Matt Klein did join for about a week and a half in there somewhere. Hello, Matt. No, he's not.
That was during COVID.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
That whole part never happened, so that's why it's not.
Yeah, but no, it's been fun, and it's been awesome to have Andrew take it over and keep it going, and onwards and upwards. Yes.
Good times. Well,
Good times. Thank you.
well, thanks, Brett, for coming along.
Much appreciated.
Spending time.
I will, yeah, and get that security conference one.
Please do.
Okay.
We'll share it and promote it and spam and all the things we normally do. Again, thanks everyone for turning up,
Yeah.
tuning in. Catch you again in a few weeks, a couple of weeks. We can explore Power Apps as a ticketing system, but we'll see how that goes and get that out to you shortly. So,
Yep. Power Apps around integration of PIM and the like into Power Apps to be able to have approvals and those sorts of things as well. So if Teams is not something that you guys use a lot of, Power Apps is a great way to be able to bring those sorts of routine admin tasks to surface as well.
cool. Well, recording show notes will be shared. So very good. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Cool. Thank you. How was that for time?
Recording this.